Cocaine makes me feel like I'm on this podcast. I can't remember my name, but here's the cuz.
What's up? I'm Ben, and I'm sober on the podcast for the very first time. So take that as you will. But we're doing the Cocaine Makes Me Feel Like I'm on this song, one of the longest titles, especially in the era of an iPod, where it's got to scroll that whole name, also known as I Hope Your Stepson Doesn't Eat the Fish. And that's how you know you're on POLYMUSE. You know you're on this podcast when we're talking complete nonsense song. Joke song? Perhaps. We'll see. Also doing radio video. Don't like this song, but we'll get to that as well. Two, should we say classic System of a Down songs from the Mesmerize album. About halfway through the Mesmerize album. More than halfway through the discography. Not even close. Not even close to being halfway done through the POLYMUSE lifestyle, where we will review every album we've ever heard in a random order, of random artists, whatever we feel like doing. We'll do them all. And we're doing System of a Down. Let's do radio video. What do you got, Michael?
Radio video, baby. So we have the lyrics, the strangest places, sweet Danny and Lisa, sweet Danny and Lisa.
I know, he never stops with them.
Yep. Nope. So we got a fun little story tie-in here.
Kinda.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a little tie-in to Darren and some old neighbors of his, Danny and Lisa, who turned him on to his first record, the Paul Stanley 78 solo album.
Wow, that explains so much. It's when Kiss released the 4 solo albums. Instead of releasing one good Kiss album, they released a bad solo album, one for each member of Kiss.
Yep.
And that explains a lot more about why Darren is the way that he is. That makes total sense.
Yep.
They both have their heads halfway up their own colons, and they both decided to make a solo album out of a band where there were 4 main characters. They wanted to make it all about, here's the solo album. And Mesmerize, kind of Darren really wanted this to be Darren featuring System of a Down, like his new stuff where it's Darren featuring Scars on Broadway. So there you go. That is just full circle. That's the most full circle thing I've ever was. I don't think the Paul Stanley one was the successful one. Out of those 4 Kiss albums, they all are not we're not doing those on POLYMUSE. I'll tell you that right now. Kiss, we do the music that changed our lives for the better, not music that changed our lives for the worse. That would be a totally different. That's when we would start doing the Kiss for anything related to Paul Stanley or Gene Simmons or Kiss.
Well, Ace's album did the best.
Oh, there you go. Out of the 4. Yeah. So whatever, man. I can't imagine. Notorious for being a lot of garbage to pad out a quadruple album. I mean, here we have a double album with System, and most of it's really good. Almost all the songs are single, like as good as their singles, basically.
Yes.
Or they're all as polished, At least they have a concept and a bridge. And even these ones, I'm not the biggest fan of this. Keep going with the radio video, I guess. I mean, you're only halfway into your story, and I'm already off on a rant about.
Well, that was the main part of it. He discussed in a interview with Revolter magazine, kind of walking through getting his hands on his first album there, and it was his favorite record to listen to. So there you go. May not be a favorite of yours, but it was a favorite of his. We get another kind of more personal, I guess, story through one of the band members here in this song, which we don't get a whole lot of in System of a Down's records. So interesting that it made it here on Mesmerize the way that it did. And we get a nice dual vocals in this track.
Yeah, but they're doing the same thing as each other, kind of, again, where it's like, I'm the lead singer. No, I'm the lead singer. No, I'm the lead singer. Oh, but you already had a lead singer. They're not complimenting each other with different voices, really.
No.
Again, not really, unless one of them's Danny and one of them's Lisa. So this is what I don't like about it. And this is how I heard the story, is that Danny and Lisa were real people, and he said, someday I'll grow up and be famous and put you in a song. That's the way I heard the story. And then he grew up and got famous and put them in a song, but he still never saw them again, or never, they disappeared because they were childhood friends, and maybe they heard the song, maybe they didn't. That's how I always heard it. I just don't. Something weird about using real people's names in lyrics like that, and it's really repetitive, and it just feels strange to have. I mean, it'd be cool if it was like one little call out in a part, like, hey, Danny and Lisa, look at me. Like, that'd be funny. But to do the whole. And then the I'm on the radio is not catchy. I guess they had to do it. They had to have one like that because they're so protesting about the mediums that they're using to bring their own message. I just don't. It's
so that piece of it
slapped together or something.
Yeah, well, because it's supposed to be a back and forth as well between his 5th birthday party at a pizza place and a remembering of him later on in life, hearing himself on the radio for the first time. So I've always tried to rectify those two stories being told in a rather simple song. Yeah, how a song was supposed to have all this tied into it through rather simple writing, I think.
Rick Rubin should have just slapped Darren. I mean, this sucked. The thing that sucked, it's not call and response. It's call and call. He's like, Danny and Lisa, and then he repeats him, and Danny and Lisa. Like, they're so dramatic about something that's nonsense. Like, it's not even the fake nonsense songs, but there's being dramatic about nothing. And it's not like call and response. It's like they're repeating each other because Darren can't stand to let Serge just be the singer in the band. If it was call and response, that would be good, but they just repeat each other.
Well, the chorus is I think the chorus is catchy. I do like it. I think it was for someone like me. I know you don't like it. That's where our opinions will vary here on this track. But yeah, I don't like it that much either.
I get what they were going for. Like, they needed one like this, but it just is so... It's just slapped together. It doesn't have any, like, meat to it. It's like they had one tiny piece of a riff and stretched it out into... It just doesn't feel like a song. It just feels like the beginning of a riff or something. It's like not enough...
There's no weight to it. There's no
weight
strength
to it.
it.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
No
it's just
punch.
The hook. It's just that it's like a ringtone version of a song where it's like catchy for 2 seconds, but then the rest of it is just like, oh, it's just that. I mean, I guess that there's more than one riff. It's not that repetitive, but
you just don't like it.
It's just
Have you ever
hey,
liked
man,
it?
Look at me rocking out. I like that, but I don't like that. No, I was weirded out by the Danny and Lisa thing because I just thought I didn't know this word at the time, but it's melodramatic when they're just adding so much drama to nonsense.
Yeah,
like it just rubbed me the wrong way to hear real name. I don't like hearing. It just breaks it. You know, most of their songs, they're talking about spiritual stuff. Even when they're talking about weird stuff like pogo sticks and all that, they're still taking you to like their own universe. And this one just stuck out because he's talking about these real people. It's like, oh my God, talk about something crazy. Don't talk to me about you're 5 years old or whatever.
Yeah, again, trying to pull real life personal elements into a song and then make it kind of not a rock song, a metal-ish, neuro metal, whatever you want to call it, in their style. It's just kind of out of place on this album, I think.
I can see what they were going for, like I said. And the using radio, using this mass communication, they're always referencing that. And they're always they make you aware that even though they're on a mainstream platform, they're trying to destroy everything. Basically, they're trying to destroy the mainstream platform. I mean, they encouraged you to steal their records, so they don't really.
Is there anything that would have punched this song up for you, recovered it for you?
If they would have just gone crazier with it, maybe, or maybe just went through the different pieces. Instead, it's just like a circle that goes around and around. Maybe it feels like more progressive. Like we're going to come up on one, Vicinity of Obscenity, where it's got multiple different riffs and multiple different, and the prison songs kind of like this too.
Yes,
where
exactly.
It's good, where it's different voices coming in and out, and you've got the radio announcer voice, you've got the death scream voice, you've got the Darren comes in as a different character when he's like, I buy my crack, blah, blah, blah. Just differentiate it up. They get stuck. They got stuck on the melodrama, and then they're like, okay, now just repeat what I said because we're just going to repeat each other. And it's like, they're just saying Danny and Lisa for 5 minutes.
Yeah. I think this is very out of place. And I think, I agree with you. Doing something different vocally and separating the two would have been a better addition to the track.
Let's let it rip. Let's let the audience decide for themselves. Here's radio/video on the radio, on the POLYMUSE podcast for your ears. Thanks. Bye.
Hey, man, look at me rocking out.
Pretty cool. I mean, it rocks, but we just slayed it for like 11 minutes, and I think we stand by most of what we said there. It's a D. It's a D for me.
A D.
It does rock. I'll give it a D for does rock, but doesn't satisfy.
I gave it a C. I wouldn't run and change off of it if it came on, but it's not.
You would like trot over there slowly. You'd be like, I'm going to turn that off, but if it keeps playing to the end, I won't be that mad.
How much playtime is left?
You're like looking at your watch.
I mean, you can sing with the chorus. It's not the worst, but no, it's not. That's something I'm actively seeking out, I would say.
You're just not actively avoiding it.
Yes.
But you're not going to call and request it on call Q106 and say, why do you play BYOB
Yes.
all the time? Next time you play System of a Down, play radio/video with Danny and Lisa, please.
Yes.
They'd say, no, that song sucks.
Exactly.
Next, this cocaine makes me feel like I'm on this song.
Yeah, baby.
Who said that? I always thought that the joke of it. Okay, this is where how I interpreted that title. So they've got Shavo Adajian, the bass player.
Yep.
But apparently during this album, Darren started doing most of the bass playing. Like on all the songs that he wrote, he played the bass. So apparently, this is what I always took to be true as far as these albums went. Shavo only played bass on the albums or on the songs that he helped write the riffs. But I always thought this was like a quote of them like doing cocaine in the studio and listening to Mesmerize, and then him being like, oh, I thought I was on this song, and they're like, oh, you're not even on this song. Like he's like rocking out to like Darren's bass.
Yeah.
And he's like, man, I killed it. And they're like, no,
that's not you.
It's like, oh, this cocaine makes me feel like I'm on this song. That's how I thought the title went. I just made that up.
That's solid.
But it just, in researching, because I always wanted to know, like, even back in the day, especially with System of a Down and bands like The Who, I always wanted to know, like, who's playing what, who wrote, when there's different members of the band that can write or contribute to the writing, or it's like, right. Oh, this one was written by just the singer, or this one was written by the whole band, or this one. I liked following that just as a songwriter.
Yeah, of course.
So I was, doing research not research, but I always wanted to know, like, how the writing credits broke down, or if it was like, there's like a main guy who writes it all, or if it's more like the Chili Peppers or whatever, where they're all writing together. So I was aware of that kind of stuff, and that's how that title hit me as. Like immediately, like, because I knew kind of about this album, and I remember at that time being like, that must have been Shavo talking.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's funny and weird.
Well, it's also an anagram for the song makes me feel like I'm on cocaine.
There you go. So you're saying I'm not as think as you drunk I am?
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. Technically, one credited verse, if you break it down. The rest are choruses and reframes technically, and of course Don't Eat the Fish is the outro, as you said, the alternative song title.
This is a weird one. This has to be, it's so creepy, man. I remember being aware of System of a Down like early before we listened to them. I do remember because I was in like community theater, so I was like in 3rd or 4th grade, but I was hanging out with people that were like in high school, and all I knew about System of a Down was that they were creepy and crazy and weird, and that their lead singer wrote an entire book of poetry about bananas, which is not true. He did write a book. There are like banana poems in there, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And then there's the banana terracotta pie stuff. But this, like, when he's doing the gonorrhea, that brings me back to that type of feeling where I'm like, there's this band out there, and they're just nut jobs. They're just like raving lunatics, and that's kind of was my original first impression of them. Just hearing, basically, it was high school kids that thought that they were badass, they basically tried to scare me with this stuff. Be like, isn't that crazy? Like, and it was, but it doesn't feel like that anymore, except when I am hearing certain parts.
Yeah,
and the
just the
gonorrhea
gonorrhea
turpentella.
triggers
that-
you.
ugh. I'm like, maybe they are crazy. Like now that I'm a lyricist and now that I can handle poetic nonsense, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
And I can handle a certain amount of performative insanity, as it were.
As it were.
But these guys are really nuts, I think, because how they put this out into the world. I mean, Eminem's done some. We got like FAC and some really, really weird like Eminem stuff.
Yeah.
Where he's just completely type of stuff where it's like he doesn't even remember that he made that song type of stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if System was quite on that level of, won't say creativity because that encourages them, but let's say they were fast.
Freedom?
Not quite as fast, maybe. He was maybe a little faster and they're pretty,
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where the inspiration comes from. Because there's nothing wrong with me. There's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with me. I hope your stepson doesn't eat the fish.
Yeah.
That's
something
like,
you'd like to avoid.
I mean, that's like Hunter Thompson. I'm just imagining like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, like chilling. You're just chilling, trying to eat the fish, and then you're like tripping balls. And it's like, oh, God, I hope it doesn't eat the fish. And it's just nonsense.
Yeah.
It just goes from something mundane to chaos. And if that's entertaining to you, you might have grown up with Mesmerized by System of a Down.
Yep.
You got more to say about I hope your stepson doesn't eat the fish?
You said a whole lot. I think that covers a lot of it. Yeah.
Is it a joke song?
I think it's a joke song. And in typical System of a Down, you've got it seems like the instrumentation kind of matching the feeling of the song of, cocaine and the highs and lows. So I think it's a nice little package song here.
Boom, here's the cocaine song. I'm
By
going to
the
give it
ounce.
a B.
A B?
Yeah.
I gave it a C.
I give it a B for
fish?
banging.
Okay.
It's a good riff. It's weird. It's more, they do different things. The vocalists don't step on each other. It's got multiple riffs. Takes you on a little more of a journey instead of just round and round the same
drain.
Same drain.
We all know you hate it when the vocalists step on each other, so I'm glad they avoided here.
What more can we say? I mean, it's a classic. A B from me, a C from you, but in the hearts of everyone who's ever eaten fish and regretted it, this one's for you. Hey, it's been POLYMUSE. We'll hit you again soon.
Bye.